Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 20th of December. Here's what's making news on 10 News First at breakfast. An urgent search for 4 Victorian teens who haven't been seen since paddling out on inflatable boards at Rosebud Beach. Fears for a heavily pregnant mum and her 3 young sons missing from Sydney's southwest. Foreign Minister Penny Wong to make an historic trip to China after breakthrough talks. And 3 men charged over ugly scenes at Melbourne's A-League game on Saturday night.
This is 10 News First with Lachlan Kennedy.
Hello, police are searching for 4 teenagers missing in waters off Rosebud in Victoria's Mornington Peninsula. 10 News First reporter Steph Baumgartel is live from the beach for us this morning. Steph, what more do we know about these teenagers?
Lachlan, at this stage, we know the 4 teenagers were using stand-up paddleboards off the beach here at Rosebud yesterday when they failed to return home. A local passerby then discovered the teenagers' belongings about 8 p.m. and she alerted police. That then triggered a wide-scale search of the area using the police air wing, the ambulance, chopper and local rescue boats overnight and early this morning. That was called off about 4 a.m. due to deteriorating conditions, but that has just recommenced. Lachlan, conditions do seem fairly favourable today. The visibility is good and the water is calm. Police are confident if the 4 teenagers are still on the water, they will be able to spot them.
Hopefully there is some good news soon. Steph Baumgartel, thank you so much. While in Sydney, a desperate search is underway for a pregnant mother and her 3 young sons who are missing from the city's southwest. The alarm was raised when 36-year-old Elizabeth Harpley and her boys, aged between 5 and 10, could not be found on Sunday afternoon. The family was last seen at a park in Campbelltown at 2 p.m. Police do have serious concerns for their welfare as the children require medication. Elizabeth is also heavily pregnant, described as Caucasian, with medium-length brown hair. Foreign Minister Penny Wong is eyeing a diplomatic reset with China as she heads off to Beijing today. The visit is being made at China's request after breakthrough talks between Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and President Xi Jinping at the G20. The bilateral dialogue between Senator Wong and her Chinese counterpart will be the first in China since 2018. It also coincides with the 50th anniversary of Australia's diplomatic ties with China. Police have charged 3 men over the ugly scenes at Melbourne's A-League derby on Saturday night, with offences including violent disorder and unlawful assault. New images of 18 more pitch invaders have also been released as the police crackdown intensifies. Melbourne Victory has been given 2 days to explain why the club shouldn't face serious sanctions. Football Australia issuing a show cause notice, which could result in hefty fines and the loss of competition points for the club. While in Sydney, police plan to lay down the law over fan behaviour ahead of the Christmas Eve clash between Sydney FC and Macarthur at Allianz Stadium. Former US President Donald Trump has been referred for criminal prosecution over the Capitol Hill riots. The move from the Congressional Committee is largely symbolic, but it does firmly place Trump at the centre of one of the darkest days in American democracy. Our CBS News colleague Deborah Alfarone has the latest.
January 6 committee members say they believe former President Donald Trump is criminally culpable for the assault on the U.S. Capitol in 2021.
Evidence we've gathered points to further action beyond the power of this committee or the Congress to help ensure accountability under law. Accountability that can only be found in the criminal justice system.
The committee recommending the DOJ charge Trump with obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the government, conspiracy to make a false statement, and inciting, aiding, or assisting an insurrection.
Depending on evidence developed by the Department of Justice, the president's actions could certainly trigger other criminal violations. Nor are President Trump and his immediate team the only people identified for referrals in our report. We are now referring 4 members of Congress for appropriate sanction by the House Ethics Committee for failure to comply with lawful subpoenas.
Trump slammed Schiff and the committee on social media and sent a message to his supporters saying Republicans and patriots all over the land must stand strong and united against the thugs and scoundrels of the Unselect Committee.
The committee has conducted more than 1,000 interviews and depositions as part of its investigation. Now, the final report, along with transcripts of the hearings, will be released on Wednesday, but the summary of that report will be released today.
Most Republicans are standing by the former president, calling the House Select Committee's work partisan. They're also preparing a more than 100-page rebuttal to the committee's report. The former president is already facing potential legal problems for his handling of classified material. At his Florida home, a special prosecutor has been tabbed to oversee that investigation.
Deborah Alfarone there. Nearly 1 in 10 aged care homes in Australia have been graded substandard under a new rating system. Only 20% of the nation's facilities did receive the maximum 5 stars. The rating system has been launched to provide accountability over staffing levels, residents' experiences and safety issues. It was recommended by the Aged Care Royal Commission. St Basil's in Melbourne, the epicentre of the country's deadliest aged care COVID outbreak with 45 deaths, and Newmarch House in Sydney both scored a 3-star standard. Department store David Jones is having its biggest sale yet, with the entire business sold off at a 95% discount. It's understood the retailer has been sold for as little as $100 million to private equity firm Anchorage Capital. It is a significant price tag reduction. Only 8 years ago, David Jones was bought by South African company Woolworths for $2.1 billion. The deal will put the 184-year-old business back in Aussie hands just in time for Christmas. The CEO, Scott Fife, will stay on, and the flagship Melbourne store was not included in the deal. Victoria will be home to Australia's first offshore wind farm, which is being touted as a game changer by environmentalists. The federal government will fast-track the energy hub. It's estimated to create up to 6,000 new jobs.
Australian offshore wind power one step closer and in Victorian waters.
Australia can lead the world in offshore wind. Victoria can lead Australia and Gippsland can lead Victoria. Hence Gippsland can lead the world.
Federal and state energy ministers visited the site on the Gippsland coast, where the gales off Bass Strait will power homes.
The world's largest island has no offshore wind. Offshore wind is jobs rich, energy rich.
The wind farm will be set up 10 kilometres off the coast, hooked up to the mainland energy grid, with the first turbines hopefully turning by 2032.
We know that this technology is a technology that we absolutely need to tackle climate change with real action, not just words.
While in the city, the Premier toured the Anzac Station tram stop, opened a year ahead of schedule, where eventually train and tram services will be integrated.
We'll be running test trains toward the end of next year and we'll be open in 2025.
The tram stop, the first part of the Metro Tunnel project, ready for passengers.
The Metro Tunnel will bring heavy rail to this part of St Kilda Road for the very first time, and there's 33,000 people who come in to work in this part of Melbourne on a weekly basis.
Meanwhile, all ministers will be at Parliament tomorrow, which is being recalled for one day at a huge administrative cost.
So the Governor addresses a joint sitting of both houses. There's a special Executive Council meeting. Some of these customs and practices are ancient, but it's a very necessary thing.
Brendan Crew for 10 News First.
Countries at the United Nations COP15 summit have come together to reach a landmark deal for safeguarding the planet's biodiversity. Targets will be introduced for protecting vital ecosystems such as rainforests, wetlands and the rights of Indigenous people. It aims to maintain and enhance 30% of the world's land and seas by the end of the decade. The UN General Secretary is hailing the deal as, quote, forging a peace pact with nature. However, several African nations, including Cameroon, Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, objected against the agreement going ahead. How it will be funded does remain unclear. An estimated 8,000 mourners are expected to attend tomorrow's funeral for Constables Matthew Arnold and Rachel McCrow. The service will be held at Brisbane's Entertainment Centre, with tickets made available to the public last night. Both officers will receive a Guard of Honour after the memorial, which will recognise their sacrifice and bravery while also celebrating their young lives.
The tragic circumstances have weighed heavy on all members of the Queensland Police Service. So, as you can imagine, it's their colleagues that are having to pull this together, but everyone has really got on board.
The service will also be streamed at several live sites across Queensland, including King George Square in Brisbane City. Flood devastated farmers in the central west of New South Wales are getting a helping hand to make their Christmas just a little bit brighter. Rural Aid has delivered more than 700 bales of desperately needed hay to farmers right across the flood-ravaged region. 10 road trains have dropped off the more than 480 tonnes of hay to the sale yards of registered primary producers.
Australia needs to dig deep to support our farming families. It's BioBale is the vehicle to do it.
The hay is very important. It's very hard to get at the present time because all roads are cut.
They just do amazing work. The agriculture charity has also been providing financial support, counselling, drinking water and volunteer assistance to farmers. Moving overseas now, and a gunman aged in his 70s has killed 5 people in Canada. Shortly after 7 p.m, the 73-year-old opened fire during an owners' meeting of his apartment complex in Toronto. Police shot and killed the shooter at the scene, bringing the death toll to 6. Another victim is in hospital in a serious condition.
The officers arrived. They were met with a scene, a horrendous scene.
The man was a resident in the building, and the man was using a semi-automatic handgun. There was multiple deceased located on several floors.
The motive for the attack is currently unclear, although local media reports the shooter did previously threaten members of the owners' board. Australian tourists are scrambling to secure last-minute flights out of Peru. As fears grow, violent protests will start again. Scores of Australian tourists have made it to Cusco after being trapped near the Machu Picchu region. Almost a fortnight ago, waves of protests broke out across the country, claiming the lives of at least 18 people. The Australian Embassy says more than 170 people have reached out to them for help. Peru was plunged into a week of chaos a week and a half ago when President Pedro Castillo attempted to dissolve the Congress, which then dismissed him. Still to come this morning on 10 News First Breakfast, the encouraging signs that the current COVID wave is easing off. What does it mean for Christmas? We'll have the latest details right after this.
This is The Bachelor. We help people fall in love. And this season, you ladies have a choice. Because there are 3 bachelors and 3 engagement rings.
What?
We're getting married! Oh my God!
I want to be your man. I want you to be my woman.
You make me want to better myself. I want to be with you.
I'm in love with you.
Will you marry me?
Marry me? Marry me?
The Bachelors starts January 9 on 10 and 10 Play.
Make New Year's Eve mega with the game that makes the most millionaires. To join the fun, grab a syndicate entry into Tats Lotto's $40 million mega draw. Wouldn't it be nice?
This Christmas, we've kept a range of your favourite classics at the same price or less than last Christmas. Like our award-winning half-leg ham, 100% Australian pork, and just $8.50 a kilo. Another way we're helping you get your woolies worth.
Dial up your summer at Victoria's biggest water theme park, Adventure Park Geelong. Ride Victoria's only triple funnel water slide, the Tsunami. Then drop 7 stories into the eye of the Tornado. Ride the new air balloon tower ride and classic family teacups. Only at Adventure Park Geelong.
Get into The Good Guys for big deals on gifts. Get over $100 off this Hisense fridge freezer. This JBL soundbar only $225. Get $20 off this Lenovo tablet. And this Ring doorbell only $229. Pay less every day at The Good Guys.
Did you know that overwashing your hair can increase scalp sensitivity? Switch to Chlorine Dry Shampoo with oat milk from Chemist Warehouse. Plant-powered with oat milk, it gently cleanses your sensitive scalp without water and naturally refreshes your hair in just 2 minutes. Refresh your hair and add volume with Australia's #1 dry shampoo. Chlorine Dry Shampoo with oat milk, 250ml. Only $10.99 at Chemist Warehouse. Live, look, feel fabulous every day at Chemist Warehouse.
It was a tragedy. With knockoff batteries, Little Miss Cupcake never stood a chance. Until Energizer Ultimate Lithium. The world's longest lasting AA battery. Case closed.
Oh, hey there, darling, let me count on you. The road is long and I'm scared what I might find. I'll be safe by my side, ain't nothing out there can't take in stride. I know, you hold me up, so I can fly.
Hello, nice and cosy in here, isn't it? I could sit here all day. Hope you've got the right home insurance.
Of course.
But did you get your Woolies worth?
Woolies worth?
With Woolworth's award-winning home and contents insurance, you can save up to 20% online and get 10% off your groceries once a month.
Sounds good. I'll check it out.
Feet off the sofa. Thank you. Get a quote online today.
The Women's A-League is on 10 Play. Extraordinary! With every game and every goal. Oh, what a goal! Stream it live on 10 Play.
Welcome back. There are encouraging signs that the current wave of COVID cases is levelling off. But for a third year running, the virus is impacting how we do Christmas, with experts urging people to organise a low-risk day, especially those who have vulnerable family members. To offer her sage advice on how to stay COVID-free over the summer holiday periods is Professor Catherine Bennett, Chair of the Epidemiology at Deakin University. Professor Bennett, thank you for your time. I mean, the virus is still with us, isn't it? Because I have many colleagues here currently off with it. How COVID conscious do we need to be this Christmas?
Morning, Lachlan. Look, you're right. The virus is here. Thankfully, the current surge seems to be levelling out, but it still means our infection rate and therefore our risk of exposure at gatherings is still high, and it's probably going to stay high for the next week or more because we've got a number of variants in the community. So this is all about how we manage that risk, how we estimate, how to make the events that we run or hold or attend as safe as they can be. And so there's nothing new here. It's what we've known from the past about taking those precautions, having events outdoors if you can, hygiene, washing hands frequently, wearing a mask if you're crowded around other people. But of course, when you've got family and friends together, it's really also having that watch out for symptoms, making sure you're not having people over or going places if you're symptomatic or you have tested positive because you know you've had an exposure or for work reasons you've tested. So it's trying to actually gather that information without being anxious about it, but actually feeling more confident in your Christmas gatherings if you actually, understand risk and try to manage that safely.
In terms of managing that anxiety, how important is it to have open communication, to have conversations with your family members in the lead up to Sunday?
Look, that's right. We've got a number of people who are particularly anxious. Some of those people, it's because they are at higher risk should they have an infection. There are other people who are anxious about the other consequences. We know long COVID is something we're still coming to understand. So it's about managing that concern as well. And the best way to do that is with an open conversation, talking about what's being done to make sure the event that's being held is safe so that those people can attend and be confident in that. But also with people who we might want to protect. So you might have someone who's quite elderly and frail, and we might be tempted to tell their grandchildren not to give them a kiss and a hug. But it's really important to talk with those people as well and find out what they want to do. They have the right to manage their risk, to manage their day as they see fit. And so I think having those conversations up front so everyone knows what other people are comfortable with and they're also aware of precautions being put in place should make it a less anxiety making event as well. And I think that's really important, just as important at the moment as managing other health issues around COVID.
Well, that's it as well. I mean, obviously we put so much focus on COVID, but there are other health issues, and I don't know whether it's just this workplace, but there seems to be mystery respiratory illnesses that come around every couple of weeks. So I guess those advice that you had before about, you know, the hygiene and if you can have the day outside, we are expecting some good weather in most centres, could also help with those potential health issues as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't want to be sick at Christmas. You know, we've had a terrible 3 years, you know, across the globe. And so I think using that information now that we have about what helps protect from infection is the best thing that we can do. That gives people more confidence, but also keeps them safer at the same time. So I do think that extra effort, being aware, but not actually being anxious about it because you know what you can do to continue to have these events. But equally, we've had people who've been very isolated for 3 years now. So it is really important to bring families and close friends together when we can and to do that as safely as possible so that we are starting to really have all the benefits of family and friend closeness at a really critical time of year to try and manage some of the other health effects of isolation that have emerged over this last period as well.
And that's so important as well, dealing with that isolation, getting family together again. Thinking back a year, I've got vivid memories of over this Christmas period, long queues for PCRs. They were everywhere in the lead up to Christmas Day. Now we know that the walk-up PCR testing from private pathology providers is essentially being phased out next year. I just want to ask where you sit on that. What are your thoughts about that? Pretty significant change in the way, I guess, that we have up until now dealt with the pandemic.
Yeah, look, I mean, the role of testing changes throughout a pandemic. Now it's moved back into the hands of the clinicians. It's being used for diagnostic reasons, particularly for people for early diagnosis who are eligible for antivirals, for example. So it will still play an important role. Our surveillance system no longer requires everybody to be asked to test and to report that test result or to have a PCR. The infection rates are too high when you have a widespread community transmission with most people with very mild or no symptoms now. So the role of surveillance is really trying to keep tabs of what's happening in the community. And I know there's been recent talk about, you know, reinstating random testing in schools and so on.
Indeed.
There is actually a working group looking at surveillance. I'm a bit surprised we haven't heard about it by now because I think for a lot of people they were concerned when we stopped reporting testing.
Yep.
But self-reported testing is not as reliable as other forms of surveillance can be that are less imposition on as many people. You need a representative sample of people being tested. We have some serology testing happening in the background, but there are other ways that you can build a surveillance system that gives you a reliable indicator on community transmission and also on the variants that are circulating in the population. And a lot of that's based usually at the hospital end, but you need to do a bit of community surveillance as well. So I think we're yet to hear about what the ongoing system will be. But the proportion of people who are reporting infections, mostly because many didn't have symptoms, but also because people stopped doing it after a while, you know, was actually very small and very biased towards people who were, you know, needing that test for their diagnostic purposes. So it's no longer a reliable set of data for surveillance. We'll have other ways of doing that. We should hear about that early in the new year.
OK, I look forward to listening to that. Professor Catherine Bennett, thank you for your time this morning, but also being so generous with your time throughout the year. We really do appreciate it. We hope you have a very happy, safe and healthy Christmas as well. Thanks again.
Thanks, Lachlan.
We'll stay with us up next on 10 News First Breakfast. Twitter users vote in favour of Elon Musk stepping down as CEO of the platform. Details on that after this break.
I'm going to make the most festive £1 one day.
7:30 Thursday with just £1.
You want food that's big on flavour and low on effort.
Create the most delicious festive feast.
How easy was that?
Jamie's £1 Christmas. 7:30 Thursday on 10 and 10 Play on Demand.
This year, I'm making sure Christmas is even better than last year. This Coles Finest free-range triple-smoked half-leg ham is just $14.50 a kilo. So I'm expecting triple the compliments. That's valued the Australian way.
Boxing Days come early at Harris Scarp with up to 60% off all homewares in Manchester, up to 40% off all electrical and up to 50% off all clothing, underwear and footwear. Click and collect your order within 2 hours. Exclusions apply. Sale ends Saturday 24th of December.
Babe, check this out.
Goals. Introducing Cool Curl, the hairstyling tool with a built-in cool air blast that sets your curls fast. It's a quick and easy way to curl your hair. Just turn it all the way around once and pull the hair through. The Cool Curl plates heat your hair to curl it. Then the built-in electric fan delivers a cooling blast that instantly sets the curl. And Cool Curl has 5 temperature settings, so it's perfect for almost any type of hair. Get bouncy curls or straight hair with this 2-in-1 hairstyling tool. Buy now at Australia Post. Also available at Global Shop Direct.
Psst, Dave, get your mind back online and think zesty. Well done, champion. New Sprite Lemon Plus with caffeine and zesty lemon flavour.
Nice car. You chose well. Hope you did the same with your car insurance.
Yeah, I think so.
But did you get your Woolies worth?
Woolies worth?
With Woolworths car insurance, you'll save up to 15% when you buy online. And you could save up to $140 off your groceries each year.
Thanks, mate. Very helpful.
Hey, come back. There's more. Get a quote online today.
Boxing Days come early at Harris Scarp with up to 60% off all homewares in Manchester, up to 40% off all electrical and up to 50% off all clothing, underwear and footwear. Click and collect your order within 2 hours. Exclusions apply. Sale ends Saturday 24th of December.
Every little bit of cricket is worth protecting, whether you're setting up, fueling up or cleaning up. However you enjoy the game we love, let's keep protecting it with Dettol. Bat, bowl, Dettol.
It was the summer of love.
Twitter users have had their say, voting in favour of Elon Musk stepping down as CEO in a poll the billionaire ran on his own future. It attracted more than 17.5 million responses, with 57.5% voting for him to resign. When he launched the poll on Sunday, Musk said he would abide by the result. But now he is saying there is no candidate as his successor. OK, a quick look at today's weather forecast for you. Starting in Queensland, partly cloudy today, 27 degrees. Sydney, early showers clearing to a partly cloudy day, a top of 23. 24 in Canberra today, fine and sunny in Melbourne. Look at that, 27 degrees. A cloudy day in Hobart, a top of 19. 32 and a shower or two in Adelaide today. Perth, hot, sunny, fine, 36. And a late storm or shower in the Alice, 35 degrees today. That is the news for now. Studio 10 is next. Have a great morning.
Coming up on